Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid, sponsored by Gaper.io. Today we have Manuel. Manuel Rodriguez is the founder of Meru.com. Manuel, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mustafa. It's great being here. Thanks a lot for having me.
So, can you tell us a brief background about yourself, what you've been doing prior to Meru, and the story behind Meru?
Of course, happy to. So I arrived to Mexico in 2018 and started importing wholesale products from China with the help of my childhood friend Federico. He went to live to China, to Ningbo. It's around 2 hours away from Shanghai. He started working with Chinese manufacturers, helping foreign buyers, dealing with the transactions, sourcing the products, dealing with the quality, the whole logistics within the cross-border standpoint. So that's essentially how we started out. Usually everything that could go wrong in the transactions went wrong, from dealing with inconsistent quality, mismatching pieces, complex customs, and the import side of things. The volume we were handling was not really that big for being really relevant to any freight forwarder, and it was just really hard to get the merchandise and to actually know exactly how much money was going to cost us dealing with these different Chinese manufacturers, and there was no easy way to do it. Alibaba and the sites available were just, not really solving the transaction of that we were looking for to do with these different customers that we were finding in Mexico. So after dealing with these different intermediaries, and we even got scammed in this first import transaction. So we realized it was a huge problem, a huge opportunity in this highly fragmented market in Mexico. It's a spectacular market. Um, the largest import partner from China in the region. So we started talking with hundreds of SMEs. We started meeting with different entrepreneurs, and we realized that they were having the same issues that we were when transacting through AliExpress, when transacting through Alibaba. So that's how we came up with the idea of building this one-stop shop platform, this marketplace that really helped each parties to fully transact and send and receive the money, and send and receive the goods. So to do this, we would have to build a logistic infrastructure. We have to build an infrastructure in China. We would have to build an infrastructure in Mexico. It's much more robust and than just a lightly just connecting marketplace. So that's how we came up with the overall consensus to what has become Meru, and we've been growing very quickly. So ever since we started in August of last year. We're already a team of 70 people. 12 live in China, the rest live in Mexico, mostly in software engineering. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride so far.
Congratulations, many congratulations.
Thank you.
So, you know, building a team, a company during COVID, what's the experience been like? Do you want to share some, going through an accelerator, building team, hiring, talking to investors, everything over Zoom, Google Meets or meetings, whatever you use, right? How's the experience been so far?
It's been a crazy ride. We started during the pandemic. This was we officially started operations as Meru in August of last year. I think it was, hard in a sense to be, isolated long periods of time, just working on an idea that you fundamentally don't really know if it's going to work or not, right? By this time, we didn't really have any funds. We're just, four people working on the idea, and we were all separated. So it's essentially we were, locked down in rooms 18 hours a day, putting crazy hour work weeks, time over and over again, evaluating the different aspects of the business with no guarantee that any of what we were thinking was going to work out. Fortunately, it did. So we were even before the pandemic. Working with China always forced us to use this online meetings, and we're kind of used to working with this time zone difference. it certainly pushes you to work even harder, right? It's like a third shift. Whenever these guys, are waking up, it's already time. It's at night here, so it's very easy to go 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning working with the China team. So it's I mean just part of it, but I think it gave us focus. It gave us incredible focus on what really matters and trying to build something that was actually wanted by the suppliers and useful for the customers here in Mexico. So communication has been key. Certainly one of the hardest parts being building a company in very different cultures since the very
Yeah,
beginning.
true. So, last year everyone started talking about Zoom fatigue, mental health, those kind of issues, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, what did you face those challenges, and what kind of things you adopted across the company to overcome all of that?
Yeah, I think it's very important not to overwork, right? It's hard, it's particularly in the kind of world we live in where there's so much competition. If you just work harder, I mean, you're going to accomplish more. If you put more work, you're going to get much more farther along the route, even if you're working the same idea, or even if the other team is much more prepared, or have more credentials than your team. It's just essentially the motivation that you can have. But also leads to if 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 you don't get enough sleep, it's not healthy, right? I mean, but also there is truly no such thing as to me like work-life balance at this stage, right? You just kind of have to be all in, and the whole team has to be all in, and completely obsessed in results. And I think the difference between teams that burn out and teams that don't, it's results, right? If you're constantly getting positive results and very small wins, but constant small wins every day of what you're doing and validation, you can go on working these 8 hours days every single day for long periods of time without burning out. I think the problem comes when you work so hard and then you don't get this feedback and you don't get the small wins. That's when it really it becomes a really huge setback in the team, and it can demotivate everybody. But I think if the focus is set on accomplish very small wins that build the future you're envisioning, I think that's where great companies get to be built.
Got it. Got it. So, my next question is, top three pieces of advice would you give to other founders, startups, who've been kind of like just started before the pandemic or got hit by multiple turbulences during the pandemic? As a founder to founder, what top three advice would you give?
I would say build something that you're truly passionate about, and passionate in a sense that you have gone through, that you have lived through, that you have experimented the problem from firsthand experience. Whenever I think that's something we've done right. We are fixing issues that we had ourselves. We're building a solution for problems that really affected us personally, and that gives you a perspective on the problem you're solving, that you cannot simply outsource. That you really have to be in the position where you experiment firsthand the pain points that you're going to fix for potentially millions of other people. Whenever I see founders trying to fix something for a problem that they don't have, that they don't really understand, it's way harder. It's much more hard than somebody that experienced what they're fixing, because many of the times you won't really know what's broken. You could potentially face the problem of visual thinking and pretend it's a real problem really it's not. And I think, solutions and the technology are just tools. What's really valuable is the problem. And eventually any solution that you have today will get substituted or replaced by newer technologies and better ways of doing things. Within decades, that's eventually going to happen. That's what happens with technology. Whatever it's great today won't be in 50 years, 100 years from now. So it's really about the problem, what matters, and people that commit long term to problems are the ones that actually face it from the first-hand experience. So making sure you're building something that means to you, I think personally it's the key to committing to that company in the long term.
Last question, Manuel. Where do you see Meru.com 3 years from now?
It's a great question. I believe in Meru, we're building the underlying infrastructure of global modern commerce. The technology that we're developing and the connections we are seeing get built have much more to do than only wholesale. We are helping people transact in ways they've never been able to do before. Our manufacturers are increasing their revenue and are facilitating the transactions in ways that were previously not available. And once you build this infrastructure and this gateway to do it, it opens up like a domino effect, snowball effect, the possibility of complementary services that initially you can outsource, but in the end it becomes part of an intrinsic part of the overall platform and the solution. So our goal for essentially the rest of this year and in the short term for the next 2 to 3 years is to become #1 platform for wholesale in all SMBs and entrepreneurs in Mexico and Latin America. We will be expanding to the rest of Latin America within this time period and continue to help these SMBs transact and continue to solve all the different issues that they face when growing their businesses. Or essentially, we're committed to making SMBs grow their businesses and committing for them to actually improve their way of transacting for the long term. So we're focused 100% in Latin America for the meantime, though we've seen that our model also has the ability to cross Latin America. So we're thinking really hard on other countries in the world that are facing the same issues and that behave the same way. It could potentially be an alternative for bringing Meru.
Got it. Manuel, good luck with that, and I hope you achieve that. Thank you so much for being on the show. Take care of yourself and all the best with Meru.com.
Thanks so much for having me. Great honor.